All right, now it's already 1 o'clock. Let's start talking about our round 2. Before that, let me show you something. Some students actually came to our previous technical sharing session. Let's see who shared. This was last week at Lisan High School. Wang Zemin shared an example of option pricing he worked on before. Coincidentally, my research topic also covers financial engineering, so I found it quite interesting that he could understand options and pricing models in high school, which is quite impressive. So everyone is welcome. If you have developed new projects in the future or during our class, feel free to share the link to your code so everyone can take a look at what you've done. Besides Wang Zemin from Lisan High School, we also have supplementary materials. Last week we mentioned the AI programming assistant. Let's take a look if you're an expert, because in the feedback form there are indeed some experts. So you might find my class too simple, but many students still say the code is difficult, so we need to slow down and have more practice. To satisfy these experts, I encourage them to try out Python AI Beginner. You can try solving problems there, or if you want to challenge yourself with university level programming and data structures, you can try solving problems there too. This is completely available for everyone to practice independently. Just evaluate your own time and ability. I encourage everyone to give it a try. I've seen quite a few students logging in from the back end. I can show you those who have learned well are probably our high school students. So I really encourage everyone to come and try it out. If you need a replay, make sure to remember the official website. If you can't find it on the official website, you can just Google it. It's PQ Lab GitHub. You can find it. So just remember pqlab.github to find our official website. You can click on the live stream there, and I've organized a playlist for everyone. So if you really need to find past live streams and can't find them, you can just click and see them. Every time we have a live stream link, as long as you subscribe to my channel, you'll get a notification when the live stream starts. So these important messages, I'll repeat them here. Some students mentioned in the feedback form that this course is not suitable for those who have never learned Python. Actually, that's only half true. Because if you're willing to try and not afraid of debugging, that's the premise. Even if you've never learned Python, you can still learn it. If you really need step-by-step guidance with detailed explanations of each command, then I recommend taking another course, the Python Introductory course by Professor Zhang Jiefan from the Department of Computer Science at National Taiwan University. So the core goal of this course is to understand, execute, and modify. That's why after I demonstrated, I asked everyone to try running it and then change it to a scenario you designed yourself. Also, everyone is welcome to share if you've made changes that differ from mine. Post your Colab link in the text sharing area to show everyone your impressive work and how your example differs from mine. All right, let's go back to March 13th. As we mentioned, if you've completed round 1 and round 2, come here to fill this out. Evaluation form. We collect your evaluations weekly and provide them to your class teachers. Now, moving on to round 2, let me explain what to do before we start. First, execute. Because if you don't understand, at least you can backtrack from the results to figure out what you're supposed to do. So execute and see what you can find. You can see the leaderboard, which lists the scores from first to fifth place. Then it can list the top 3. So this is more like the whole class. Since this class has fewer students, 5 students, it lists the top 3. Now, is it possible for the scores to be like this? The first place might not necessarily be 95 points, so if the scores are jumbled, can they be reordered from highest to lowest? Let's take a look. Here, we list the students from each class. If the scores from Amy, Ben, Cassie, David, and Ella are listed, it might be according to their seat numbers like 91, 78, 53. So these students are not listed by their scores, but by the initial letter of their names, so starting with A, B, C, D, E. How can we match in this dictionary or DIC if my scores are not sorted from high to low? What should we do? That's our goal. So first, we need to extract all the scores from this dictionary. Before extracting, what do we need to get? We need to get each item in the dictionary. As we tried earlier, if you put the item name in the dictionary, it returns the corresponding value. So we need to search for all these items first. Here it stores each item in the score list. If you're unsure what this looks like, we can try extracting this part to check its appearance. Here, it tells you that there are many items. Each item has a key and a value. So we need to extract the key. To extract the key, it says here that we extract each key from every item one by one. After that, I sort them. Once sorted here, it can reorder the items from highest to lowest. So this key is what we refer to as each item. Now, how do we know each item? If I tell it now my scores, are good, then ask it to print them out for me. So it will tell you that there are this many items in this tea. Now for each item, I take them out one by one in order and I can retrieve the result of each item. Suppose I take this one. So it takes out 91. Now, if you put this whole thing in a list of items, we can turn it into a sequential number. We can use a for loop to extract this sequential number. So this part is actually saying that this is a shorthand for a for loop. It sequentially takes it out, and then after taking it out, the scores, I do a sort. So we can see that I take each one out and temporarily store it in a list and then sort this list. So you can imagine that what it gets should be like this. It would be okay. Now we might use a good one here and then frame it. So this is a list. So what you extract, don't just see it as an English letter symbol. You can actually imagine that it corresponds to its score. Okay, execute it, and then at this time, when you take out temp, you will know that it is a list with scores. Now, if you can directly click sort, then at this time, we use another one to connect it and then print it out, which is to let it store the sorted result back. You will find that it says there is no sort. So let's check how to use sort in our list. So when you have a logic that you think is correct, it might be wrong in syntax or because this attribute is not included. So we need to look at how to use this sort. Okay, so it suggests that our way to use sort should be with sorted, so it can be done well. So let's take a look. Let's try again this part. So if you find errors when writing code, don't worry and don't memorize it. Just write down your thoughts first, then try to use AI to guide you to correct the syntax. So what we find difficult now is actually this sentence. It's about how to write the behavior I just broke down into one sentence. So I use sort to extract each item and then sort them. Okay, then we can ask it this sentence. What does it mean? If using for to write it out, what would it look like? Okay, so this sentence is because I'm already very familiar with it. So I'm telling you, this is actually a shorthand for a for loop. Then it extracts each one and sorts them. Then the goal of this sorting is that I can extract each value and then let it expand and become a sorted result. So here it helps you show the expanded result, and then it tells you that it can actually be consolidated into a lambda expression using a for loop. So it breaks them apart one by one, and of course it can be resorted. Then it can help you print out the sorted results. So it prints them out. Now, how is this different from what we just did here? What I want to do now is break down each value I take out, and each value I take out is a score. But when I turn it into a list, I only keep the scores. My name disappears. So you can see that after executing this, my temp will only have scores left and my name disappears. So you need to understand when to use a list and a dictionary, and in what situations and tasks they are applicable. If I want to sort this temp, then we can ask. So you'll know that different data stored in different storage mediums require different tools. The tools that follow are different. Since our previous medium was a dictionary, I directly used sort. Here in this item sort, it's used directly. Alright, then if I want to sort, he says you can try it this way. Let's try it. So at this point, the sort is complete. So when we kept trying whether it should be sorted parentheses temp or should it be dot sort, it really doesn't matter if you're not familiar with the syntax, because once you have the logic clear, you can use AI to help you with the syntax corrections. This way you can compare why when I do it this way, the list can't retain the key. Without retaining the key, after sorting the scores, you can't match back to the original scores owner. So it becomes that you have to redo it again. And 78 should be or banned. You have to go back to the scores to match. You might as well handle everything with the score from start to finish. This reason is why there are two uses for lists and dictionaries. Okay, after sorting, now that I've sorted, I can do one thing. I can directly print out this item because it has already helped complete the sorting. Okay, after it's done, I see this result. Below is the process of explaining the code above. At this point, it becomes much simpler because here, after breaking it down into a more complex loop abbreviation, we can know that within the loop, we can take both the key and value into the item and extract them one by one. Enumerate means to extract them one by one, and because it's already been resorted here, extracting them one by one will definitely be in descending order of scores. Since it's been resorted, how do I confirm this? I can do one thing, which is to move this print a bit further back, adding one more here to move it back a bit. What I want to do is show everyone the difference between after I execute this item list and before I do the sort. So when you're reading the code, please try to be able to extract the processes you see. So we see it's 9178. So after you complete the sort, look at the item again to see what it looks like. So it becomes 9518. So did you notice the result before and after doing it is different? So why can this for loop naturally use enumerate to directly follow the sorted result and extract it? The reason is this line. I've rearranged it, so after rearranging, I can get the corresponding name and the score associated with it. I can use a for loop to sequentially store into name and score, and where do I get it from? From the enumerator of item one by one. If I only want the first three, I just tell it I only want the first three. So my top three is just the first three of item, and I get it. The colon 3 means from the start to 3, so I can only see the sorted result and my top 3. Alright, so next, what practice do you want to do? Similarly, can you compare using dictionary and list? Why do we specifically introduce dictionary and what are the drawbacks of list, but also what are its conveniences? Try to rewrite this scenario and then you can fill out our feedback form about your learning process today. And remember, before you finish learning, make sure to write down your school's name. If all of this is easy for you, you can try our additional exercises to practice more. Alright, that's the content of today's lesson. Once we receive the overall list from each school, after our assistants organize and compare it, we'll submit it to the teachers of each class. So I might need to wait a bit for the final consolidated list from the National Education Department to be available for everyone. Then you can build your small projects weekly. For this small project, I hope after you finish, don't hesitate to boldly show it off and post it here for everyone to see your work. Now, since some students have posted, if you're curious, you can also see what different things other students have done. You can open it. After opening it, if you want to run it in Colab, what should you do? It's simple, just go to File, then Upload Notebook, and I just need to browse and open what I just downloaded. You can upload the code provided by your classmates if they use the file. If you think what you just did is great and want to share, you can share it. And remember to make sure to use anyone can review, then copy the link down here and you can paste it. I would say this is an example from Lishan High School's Wang Zemin converted to a Colab link. So I encourage everyone to directly post the Colab link. The advantage is once opened, it becomes Colab and everyone can take it back to practice on their own. All right, so that's the end of our live broadcast. The remaining time is for everyone to test it out. We welcome skilled experts to share your work without hesitation. When we have time, we'll take a moment to demo the results of these works. All right, since we now have 10 people, let's start today's class. Before we begin, I'd like to share some basic statistics from last week's feedback forms. These basic statistics won't affect your grades. They're just to let everyone know that among the 416 students who filled out the form online, most understood the material, with only a small portion still catching up. For those who haven't caught up yet, please take some time to practice with the replay videos. We can see that almost 99% of the students answered correctly, with only 10% saying they didn't understand at all. For these 10% of students out of 416, that's about 40 students. In terms of proportion, this is quite common. If you haven't practiced or been exposed to the material at all, we can't expect 100% of students to immediately understand everything online. Fortunately, more than half of the students understand the material. This means the difficulty level of this course should be suitable for most people. This course requires you to spend some time practicing. If you can't keep up, don't worry, because we have plenty of time outside of class. During this free time, you can review and practice more. These exercises and videos are online, so you can schedule your time. One day, when it clicks, what seemed like alien language will become easy to grasp. Today, we're going to do a simple exercise involving two data storage formats called list and dict, which you'll see in the upcoming examples. After you open it, click on Colab and remember to change your button to copy to drive. If it disappears, it means you've successfully saved the code to your account. We're going to do something where if you want to store certain data, not just a single value, but a list of values, how can you do that? Let's use a scenario like a menu. The menu has items like burgers, cola, coffee, and salad, and it wants to have names with corresponding prices. You can use this storage method to put the corresponding items and values in the same row. This way, each row feels like a team, like they're teammates, so you can look up how much a burger costs. If you want to try it out, let's run it first. Click Execute to see what the result looks like. At this point, you can say you want to order a burger, then a salad, and then you want to check out. So now think about it. You only told them burger and salad. So when checking out, it should return 120 plus 80, making it 200. Let's see if the answer is 200. So it says, because the burger is 120 and the salad is 80, together they make 200. So how do we achieve this? Let's read through this piece of code. This cart is your shopping cart. So it temporarily stores the string you input, which is the item you want to order in this shopping carts list. When you're placing an order, this while true loop, which we learned last week, means that you will only exit this loop when a certain condition is met. Otherwise, it will keep asking. So when do you exit? Well, here we wrote that if your string encounters the word down, it will proceed to checkout. This means you need a condition to determine if your string encounters down. You should break out of this loop, which means to pause. If not, it will keep asking. Now, there's a scenario where if the user doesn't follow the menu and enters something random, there's a way to check if the ordered item is not on the menu. If it's not, it will print item not found and continue to the next loop. If it is, it will append the item to the cart variable, adding them one by one. So append means to add. After adding, if they choose down to exit the loop, they can continue to the total line. Initially, total is $0. So when checking out, it will use a for loop to sequentially take out the items already appended to the cart. So for item in cart means I want to take out each item in the cart sequentially. When taking them out sequentially, I can easily use the menu. And since my menu matches the names, you can directly read its price. So in this query process, you can directly get the price. Why can it total plus equals price? Because when I take burger, it actually queries and returns 120. So in this query, and having this kind of matching is called DT, which is short for dictionary, like a dictionary. And in this way, it can only hold single items. We call it a list. After adding everything up, the for loop also extracts all items from this list. It just needs to use the format taught last week to print out the price and it's done. So we can try again. If you don't actually order an item from the menu, if I intentionally type hamburger, it won't find it, so it will say please try again. If I type apple, same thing, please try again. So if at this point we order a Coke and then say we don't want it, it will tell you that you owe $30. So let's practice for a bit and students can try to go through it and see if you can understand the entire logic. This round 2 actually uses the same concept to create another scenario. So during practice, can you think of a third scenario also using the dictionary and list features, combining them? Here it's grades, right? So can we also You can make a ranking list like those for movie tickets or anything that can be ranked by numbers. We need to think of a scenario. So if this menu has a price comparison, you can create logic for this scenario. The second scenario is if it's a ranking of grades. Is there a third logic where you can think of another scenario and create it? I want to share this summary. Once we receive the course lists from each school, we will organize them for the teachers of each class. Since we haven't received the summary from each school yet, the National Education Agency is currently helping with the investigation, so I can't compare which students haven't submitted yet. This will be provided to the teachers of each class for reference. So please ask the teachers of each class to wait a bit. Once I receive the complete list of students from the National Education Agency, we will ask the teaching assistants to help with a comparison, and then we will submit each filled evaluation form. All of them will be submitted to the teachers of each class for reference on everyone's learning situation. Okay, so what do we do next? Next, please try to complete the first round, and being able to read it is basic. Then you can try to apply this scenario to another scenario where you can use names corresponding to numbers to swap this code and retell the story. Now, we will give the time back to the students. The next time is 1 o'clock. We will come back to discuss round 2 and how to understand its code. Now, the time is given to the students to test it out. If you finish round 1 and want to fill out the evaluation form for round 1, you can click this and you can fill it out. When filling it out, remember to assist by entering your school before your student ID. Otherwise, we might not be able to verify your school when comparing. And if you happen to make a mistake with your student ID, we won't be able to cross-check if you are in this list. So remember to enter your school. Okay, now we return the time to each class. You can practice here our second unit's round 1 and go through it once. Try to replace this scenario with names corresponding to certain numbers. And besides ordering, what other scenarios would use such a tool and combine them into a workable link? Then let this process run through your scenario once.